What's up, guys? This is Zach Logue, left-handed pitcher in the Toronto Blue Jays organization. You're listening to the Walk-Off Podcast with Scott and Adam.
So excited to be joined by today's guest, pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays organization, who just last week got called up from AA New Hampshire to AAA Buffalo. Zach Logue, welcome to the Walk-Off, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, buddy. To start with, big congrats on the call up there, and for that matter, your debut outing this year with AAA, where you had 1 hit, 7 innings, 8 Ks. I know you've pitched since then, but impressive, buddy. Well done.
Thank you. It was a good first one.
Right? How you feeling on the mound this year? I know, obviously, after the shutdown and a pandemic year and development difficult for everybody, but are you back in a routine? Are you feeling like it's just regular baseball again?
Yeah, I think at this point we're kind of back to the feeling of a regular season. But kind of like you said, after that full year off, not really competing for an entire calendar year, getting out there for the first couple of times definitely felt different. Definitely had the nerves going. But yeah, I'd say we're back to normal now.
Did you go home during the shutdown?
Yeah, so we got sent home right in the middle of spring training. We were there for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, got sent home, and then I drove back to Louisville, where I live, in the off season, and I was there pretty much for the entire time.
And at first, obviously, you thought you were going back, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like it was crazy how it all happened. I had thrown a live BP on like a Thursday. I was driving home on either Saturday or Sunday, home that day. So it was a super quick turnaround. And just like you said, we thought we were going to be home for a couple weeks, a month tops. And then those kind of benchmarks came and went. And eventually, unfortunately, we kind of saw the writing on the wall that we we're out on a season that year.
What did you do to continue to develop? I mean, it must have been weird for it to be kind of all in your court to kind of get stuff done.
Yeah, for sure. It was, like you said, it was all in our court. We had to go find places to throw. Like most places weren't open, find things to do to work out. I was working out on the front porch, all that kind of stuff. So it was definitely just kind of do it on your own. But one of the main things was I was trying to gain a little bit of velocity. So I kept on working on med ball stuff, weighted ball, things like that. And luckily I had a few friends in the Louisville area that were with other organizations. So that it was a pretty good situation, I would say, overall, with being able to get my workouts and throwing in.
That's a big deal, to have others around you also trying to progress.
For sure. 100%. Because if it's just me, like it'd be so hard to get motivated. Some days you know how it is, especially over that long summer. Yeah. over that long summer when we had no idea what the heck was going on. Having a couple guys there to kind of, keep you going definitely helped a lot.
Well, it's been impressive, man, because you came back from this shutdown, I should say, and your strikeout rate is way up this year, especially in comparison to your career average.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the K is so valued these days in baseball.
For sure.
Was that something you were trying to do? Is that part of the velocity training you were doing? And what do you kind of credit that increase in strikeouts to?
Yeah, I think the velocity was definitely, or the goal of the velocity was probably to help that out a little bit. I wouldn't say that was like my main focus, but obviously when you throw a little bit harder, you have a little bit more margin for error, and some of those things kind of come along with it. And then along with the velocity over the lockdown, I worked on a new pitch. So I throw a cutter now.
Nice.
I had a slider and a changeup, and those both hovered right around 80 miles an hour. And I kind of wanted something to bridge the gap between those and my fastball. Yeah, right. Exactly. So I worked on that over the shutdown, and it's proven pretty effective so far.
It must have been pretty cool this spring training coming back. Was it kind of like a reunion of sorts? It's like, everyone's like, oh my God, we're all still here.
Right. Yeah. Cause you keep in touch with a few guys, but there's definitely some guys that you hadn't talked to in a while and definitely hadn't seen in about a year. So you get back, and it's almost like the first day of school. You're back together with all your good friends, and you're out there just playing baseball again. It was a lot of fun.
So Zach, you are only 6 feet. Now I say only 6 feet is not short,
right?
But my goodness, dude, in comparison to some of the guys in the organization, you must feel like you're surrounded by giants sometimes, right? Like it's 100%. A tall pitching crew.
100%, especially here in Buffalo. We got TJ Zoik, Nate Pearson, Jacob Wagsback, Brian Baker. Those guys are all, 6'4" plus. And then there I am walking around at 6 foot. And like you said, 6 foot, it's not
You've
short.
never been short till
right,
now.
right. But then I look in the locker room and I'm looking up at everybody. It's kind of crazy.
Well, buddy, it was so funny because we had Fitz Stadler on the show last month. Fisher Cats pitcher, former teammate, right? And of course, he's 6'9", so he's probably the tallest of the bunch. And I got a real kick out of him because we were just talking about who he tries to image himself after, sort of thing, like what pitchers he watches. And he was like, in all honesty, man, like my biggest thing is staying compact. And so he always envisions himself as in a Marcus Stroman avatar. He's like, I get on the mound and I'm like, think small. Like,
That's funny. I would, if I were him, I would have never guessed. Marcus Stroman. But I mean, he's obviously a good guy to, emulate after. He's athletic. He moves super well. And if you can, get close to that, you're probably doing something right.
Exactly. So do you have somebody that you kind of see similarities into how you pitch and kind of model yourself after a little bit, or see similarities in?
Yeah. Growing up, I kind of, or not growing up, I guess more in high school. I kind of looked at John Lester a little bit.
Oh, nice.
I really liked the way he competed on the mound. He's kind of stoic out there, not super high energy.
Lefty, right?
Yeah, fellow lefty, exactly. He doesn't throw super hard, but he has unbelievable command, great competitor. And so I just kind of like the way he went about his business.
Nice. So Zach, you're engaged, correct?
Correct.
Nice. Congrats, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'm a stand-up comic and I'm on the road a lot. So I kind of see similarities in the pro ball players, right? And I know my fiance, super supportive and really gets kind of the time commitment needed. And again, like I said, ball players similar, right? A lot of travel, a lot of being on the road and away from home. How important has that support from your girl been? And has having someone in your corner helped you?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And yeah, like you said, I got to give a shout out to her. Her name's Kayla. Her birthday was yesterday, actually.
Hey, nice.
So,
happy birthday, Kayla.
Yeah, happy late birthday to her. But yeah, it's awesome to have somebody that understands the time commitment, like you said, understands kind of what you need to do to take care of your business. And yeah, she's been awesome. She's always there to, talk about the game if I want, there to take my mind off the game if I want. Does a great job.
It's a bigger part of it than people give it credit for, isn't it? Just like
totally
having some actual alone time, some 100%. Time where it's just you, and you don't need to be involved in the game or whatever it is, right?
Exactly. Sometimes, whether it be after a good game, tough game, sometimes you just want to come home, kick your shoes off, watch TV, hang out, not think about it, get away for a while. And having somebody that understands that is definitely huge over, a 6-month full season.
That's great, man. How did you two meet?
We actually met in high school.
Okay.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been together for, I guess, over 10 years now. We met in high school. I actually played hockey in high school. And one of her friends was dating one of my teammates, so we got introduced that way. And yeah, we've been together for quite some time now.
This brings up so many questions,
endear you two Canadians' hearts.
Is hockey big in
what
Louisville?
Position did you play in hockey?
So I was a center and a left wing. I played left wing most of my life, and then when I got to high school, I kind of transitioned over to center. And to answer your question, I grew up in Cincinnati. I wouldn't say it was huge in Cincinnati, but I had a friend. His dad's name is Sean Williams. Actually, he played hockey growing up. He's Canadian. I think he played a couple games with the Blackhawks, but he played a long time with the Indianapolis Ice and stuff like that. So got introduced to his son Blake and played hockey with him from probably second grade up until high school. Cool. So yeah, I had a little bit of a hockey career, I would say.
That's really cool.
Were you a good hockey player?
I like to think I was pretty good.
Was there a decision to be made? Did you lean towards baseball just because you were better at it, or?
So kind of funny story. So I went to a public school for elementary school and stuff like that. And then when it became time to choose where I wanted to go for high school, I could have continued with the public school, or there was a private school, Moeller High School, where I ended up going. And Moeller had a varsity hockey team, and Mason, the public school, did not. So I wanted to play varsity hockey. So that was really like one of the big decision or factors in making my decision to go there. So yeah, but I love hockey. I love watching it. I haven't skated in a long time, but I still love to watch it. And it just kind of became apparent that baseball was probably going to be the future if I wanted to pursue something in college and beyond.
So before the 2020 shutdown in 2019, you made the Eastern League AllStar game as a Fisher Cat. No small feat. What was that experience like?
It was cool. It was really cool. I was a little surprised I made it. I don't know. I just a little surprised. But it was cool. You get to go and hang out with all those guys you compete against, and talk about games you threw against them, how he got me, I got you a few times, stuff like that. And then now, like a few years removed, you see a ton of those guys making their big league debuts, which is really, really cool too,
isn't it?
Yeah.
How often in a scenario like that are you the guy approaching other pitchers trying to get info out of them? Because I know you watch it happen all the time.
Yeah.
Especially you're watching, like, they'll have the cameras on the bullpens and stuff, and they're always talking pitching. Are you one of those guys that's like, tell me this, how do you throw that?
Yeah, sometimes for sure. You see a guy who has a nasty breaking ball, and I'm kind of, you're always looking to improve, right? So, you see someone that throws a really good one, really good changeup, something like that, and you just kind of want to, it's not necessarily grips or anything like that all the time, but a lot of times it's like mental cues. Like, what do you think about, like, where do you want to get your hand? What do you think about, like, after release? Are you pronating or anything like that? So yeah, us pitchers, we're kind of an interesting crew. We're talking about pitching all the time.
I love it, man. When you look back on your time as a professional ball player, was there ever a moment or a few moments that kind of felt like major milestones to you? Like anything that stands out that, like, maybe you stepped on the field and you're like, I can't believe I'm getting paid to be a pro ball player. Anything like that?
One of the really cool moments for me was my first full season. I was in High A Dunedin, and we were playing St. Lucie, and I was starting that day, and I got the lineup, and David Wright was hitting second, and Jay Bruce was hitting third right behind him. And I was like, oh goodness. So I'm from Cincinnati, grew up a Reds fan. So like I had watched Jay Bruce growing up. So that was super cool to throw against him. And then obviously David Wright, he's a Hall of Famer. So that was like a, kind of pinch me moment, I would say.
They were both just rehabbing or what?
Yeah, they were both rehabbing. Yeah. David Wright was coming back from his back stuff, and I'm not exactly sure what Jay Bruce was rehabbing, but yeah, they're both rehabbing, both in the lineup on the same day, and I was like, all right, here we go. See what we got today.
That is awesome, man. How did you fare against them?
I don't want to brag, but I think they're both over 3. So I fared well. That
I like how you said I think, but we both know.
I know. Sometimes those guys don't take those games 100% seriously, but on in the scorebook, I got them.
So my man, the Jays bullpen this year has been riddled with injuries and struggles for that matter, and the starting rotation is a little thin right now. And there's an actual realistic pathway for you to maybe possibly see some big league innings this year. I know we just saw Tyler Sacedo called up. Mm-hmm. How much of those optics do you let seep into your thought process? Like, do you kind of keep an eye on things, or do you try and bury your head in the sand? Like, do you find it detrimental to do that, or does it motivate you?
I think it definitely motivates me to a point. I try not to get lost and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I think you can go down a rabbit hole with thinking, oh, if this happens and I do this and this guy does that, then you kind of start putting your mind into
mapping out other people's injuries. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we never want to do that. No. But I think seeing if they're there's always, like, I guess, a point where you can pitch well enough to create your own opportunity, but a lot of the times, something has to happen in order for you to get moved up. So yeah, seeing stuff like that happen, it definitely, I guess puts a light at the end of the tunnel, if it keeps you motivated for sure. Keeps
Absolutely.
you motivated.
Kind of pretty validating almost to kind of be at the point where there is that possibility, eh?
Definitely. Yeah. We've been on this journey for however many years now and playing T-ball all the way up to here. And
yeah,
it's right there for sure.
Like, to kind of touch on that, like, you've played for every one of the Blue Jays affiliates at this point throughout your 4 years as a major league ball player, right? Like, you've seen it all.
I've been through the system. Yeah.
I went through the system out of curiosity. And we can throw Lansing into this now too. I know they're the high A affiliate with Oakland now, but of all the affiliates you've played for with the Jays, did you have a favorite or one that kind of stood out to you as feeling like maybe the most pro of them all, where you're like, oh, this is pro ball?
So the most fun I probably had was in Vancouver. I spent most of my first half season there, and a lot of guys that are on this Buffalo team now, and a lot of the guys that I got drafted with were on that team, and we were really good. We all got along super well, and we ended up winning the championship. And I don't know if you've ever been to a Canadians game, but they sell out almost every single game. The fans are super into it. It's like an awesome atmosphere to play. It was like the perfect introduction to pro ball, and like also the Canadian fan base. So I love that. And then definitely here in AAA, you kind of feel more professional, I would say. Not that other places weren't.
No, for sure.
But you have, I would say definitely the majority of the team here has had some sort of big league time. So, you're around guys that have been there and been through all that kind of stuff.
That's very cool, man. It's funny you say Vancouver. I know we just talked to Taylor Sacedo, and he brought Vancouver up too. It's just like Nat Bailey Stadium was something he could not say enough good things about. He's like, it's crazy, man. Like, everyone's cheering no matter you're winning or losing. It's great.
Yeah. Like the away teams love to come play. Like, the weather's awesome. The fans are great. The city is like obviously beautiful. So like it's hard not to love that place.
All right. So let's talk about the big thing in baseball right now, the extra sticky stuff scandal, right? That's coming to a head, and guys started getting suspended for it last week. I know Sports Illustrated had it as its month's cover, right? And of course, sensationalized the balls dripping, and like they're saying it's the biggest thing since steroids, which I do not feel that way. But in your opinion, how much stick is too much stick? Like, was it becoming a problem? And personally, from my state, like, I just feel like sunscreen and rosin isn't a big deal. Even pine tar on a cold day, I don't know why this is all. But that said, the stuff that you can hang a cinder block off your hand seems like a little much. Where do you stand on this? And was it prevalent in the minors?
I definitely agree with you. I think, those balls they're kind of slick. The big league balls are kind of slick, and some of the mud is a little inconsistent when they rub it down. So I think a little sunscreen and rosin, especially on a cold day when you don't have any moisture on your hands. I think that's fine. I don't think that really increases spin that much, or would increase make somebody's stuff so much nastier. Just on that. But I agree. The stuff that you can hold a baseball without even touching it, or even a cinder block. I think that's probably a little too far. And I think people definitely took it too far, and I understand why. It's all kind of coming to a head now. And definitely people are definitely using it in the minor leagues. I mean, it's one of those things that it was just people kind of look the other way. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't say anybody was going too crazy with it, but if you get a little extra grip. It doesn't hurt for sure.
Do you feel like this is a little bit of an overcorrection?
Potentially, yeah. I know there's so many weird rules that we've gotten because of it. Like, I think one of the rules is you're not allowed to put rosin on your non-throwing arm. I don't really understand that. So Nick Allgaier was pitching the other day, and he was blowing on his hands to just give it a little bit of moisture. Yeah. And they told him he's not allowed to blow on his hands. It wasn't cold enough. So we thought that was a little bit crazy. So I think to answer your question, yes, it's probably a bit of an overcorrection. I definitely understand why they're coming down with some of these rules, but I think it'll eventually balance itself out to where everybody is, happy with what's going on.
Nice. Appreciate you answering that.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite accomplishment during a game? Do you like a swinging strikeout, getting a ground ball for a double play? Like what when you're on the mound makes you go, yeah?
Honestly, a broken bat. Like whenever I jam somebody enough to break their bat, that makes me feel pretty good. I'll tell you that.
I love that answer, man. That's great. A little dribbler where they break the bat.
For sure. Because I feel like they're defeated at that point. You know what I mean?
So I think it's safe to say that a good catcher makes a pitcher better. Looking back on your career so far, who are a couple catchers that stood out to you? You felt you had a good chemistry with, and how important is that chemistry?
Yeah, I'd say the first one that comes to mind is Riley Adams. We actually played college summer ball together on Cape Cod in 2016, I guess that would have been. So we have quite a bit of history, and then we played together in Vancouver and then Dunedin and New Hampshire as well. So I've thrown so many innings to him. So we're both comfortable with each other. Like we kind of think along the same lines. And like you said, it's so important, to have a catcher that's thinking along with you. I think it just helps the flow of the game out. I don't like to stand up there and shake and shake and shake. I think that, ruins my rhythm. It, makes the guys behind me, their feet stand a little bit still. I know they like it when a guy moves a little bit quicker. So yeah, I think it's huge. And I feel like it's something that's people don't really appreciate, maybe that aren't in the game as much, but I think it makes a huge difference for a pitcher for sure.
Which is, I guess, why you see some of the top guys in the game have a catcher that's just always the guy who catches them, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. It's a huge comfort thing. I got to give credit to Juan Gratterall. We threw both of my games I've thrown up here, I've thrown to him, and I think he's done a great job.
Seasoned
vet. Yeah, 100%. He definitely knows what he's doing behind there. But yeah, having a guy that you're comfortable with, that you're on the same page on the game plan, on what you want to do to certain guys and what you want to do in certain situations. I think that it makes everybody more comfortable.
Love it, man. All right, let's take a bit of a left turn here. Okay, so Canadian trivia. Now we've played some Canadian trivia. We've played some Canadian trivia with Zach Britton with the Dunedin Blue Jays, Brody Rudning, James Dykstra, Fitz Stedler, all former teammates of yours. James and Zach have the best records at 3 right answers for 6 questions.
Okay.
Do you want to take your hand at some Canadian trivia here? See how you stack up?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So the first one here is a little bit of a baseball question too. So the first one is, the Toronto Blue Jays became a Major League Baseball team in what year?
I want to say 1982.
77, but good guess.
Okay.
Okay. What province does the city of Toronto reside in?
Is it not? It's not Ottawa, is it?
It's not, but it does start with
Ontario.
O.
Ontario.
There you
God,
go.
I knew it was a no.
Okay, 1 for 2.
All right.
Okay, now you played in Vancouver.
Yeah.
What province is that in?
That's British Columbia.
There we go. Hey, all right. We might have a new champ here. Okay. So your fourth question here. Out of the following celebrities, who is Canadian? A, Jim Carrey. B, Mike Myers. C, Ryan Reynolds. D, none of the above. Or E, all of the above?
I believe E.
Nailed it.
Wow.
We got a little bit of a Canadian buff here with Mr. Logue. I like
He plays hockey. He knows his trivia.
Plays hockey. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Fifth question. Which current Major League team was originally the Montreal Expos until relocating to the current city in 2004?
It would be the Nationals.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
4 for 5. Honestly,
Very
Zach, these may seem easy. The other boys were literally getting the exact same question. So
Hey,
all right,
know my Canadian stuff.
Your final question here. The Toronto Blue Jays currently have 2 World Series championships. Name the player who hit the walk-off World Series winning home run in 1993 at home in Toronto.
Joe Carter.
Nailed it.
Wow.
5 for 6, and we got ourselves a new Canadian trivia champ here. Love it.
That's awesome.
Let's go.
I'm impressed, buddy.
I'm blown
Thank you.
away.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm actually blown away. Like the other guys did so poorly, we were even talking about like just ditching this segment altogether.
No, keep it so they know that I'm in first.
You're
That's right. You're like, well, now that I've won this,
the
don't take
champ.
it away now.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, my man. So now we're gonna do a segment called Foul Territory. I'll throw to Adam here, and they're basically non-baseball questions or not quite as direct type of baseball questions.
Got it.
Okay, so my wife helped me with the first one here. Being that you're engaged, congratulations by the way, high school
Thank you.
sweetheart. So what's it like? And Scott kind of touched on this earlier, but what's it like having a relationship with someone who's kind of been there for the whole ride, like as opposed to someone maybe you met in college or when you were already in the minor leagues, right?
Right. Yeah, it's really, really cool because she's kind of been there, through it all. Like we first met, and I think I was a sophomore in high school, and I wanted to play Division I college baseball, but that wasn't really like I hadn't had any offers or anything like that. So she's kind of seen me go from getting offers to playing in college to playing in pro ball. So it's really, really cool to kind of share that journey with somebody.
That's awesome. I know, and I'm sure Scott could probably relate to this, but as a married comedian, I often feel like, even though my wife would never admit it, I feel like sometimes she just is waiting for me to kind of give up on the dream and become a plumber, And she's just like being supportive, like, yeah, okay, right, sweetie, you got this. Like, do you ever feel that at all from your fiance? Like,
no.
Do you think that she expected this when you were 10 years ago? You'd be like, hey, I'm going to go play pro ball. And she's like, okay, sure, sweetie.
Right. No, I definitely don't think she expected it when we first met, because I don't think I would have expected it either. But no, I never get the sense that she's like waiting for me to retire or anything like that. It's obviously hard. We spend a lot of time apart, especially during the season. But I think she enjoys coming up, and she's made some good friends with some other guys' wives and girlfriends and stuff like that over the years.
That's great.
So she enjoys coming up and like going through the journey and stuff.
That's awesome. So when you are together, then what is like in the off season? What does a date night look like for you guys?
So we bond over food for sure.
Okay.
I like to cook, so I'll cook her some stuff. Typical date night. We have friends that they own a brewery near where we live, so we like to go hang out there. She has some good friends that she works with, so we hang out with them and stuff like that.
You better shout out this local brewery, or your friends are going to be so mad.
Yeah, you're right. It's Our Lady of Perpetual Hops, and it is in it's in southern Indiana.
Awesome.
New Albany, Indiana.
All right.
So yeah, it's a great little spot. They always have live music. They got cornhole, stuff like that. So if you're around the area, check it out for sure.
That's great.
Nice.
So you mentioned that you're a little bit of a cook. What is your like marquee dish? Like, you're on Hell's Kitchen Celebrity Edition. Gordon Ramsay is like, all right, Zach Logue, make me your best dish. What are you making for Chef Ramsay?
All right. So one of our go-tos is it's salmon, oven roasted salmon, and it's got like paprika and stuff seasoned on there. And then we make a little like avocado mash, I guess. Not necessary. It's basically guacamole, but not completely mashed up. So you still get the little pieces of avocado and stuff in there. And then we like to make we have an air fryer. We use that thing almost every night.
I use the air fryer way too much.
We love it. So we like air fry some red potatoes or like Brussels sprouts and stuff like that. So
all right. Sounds like a delicious time.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing here about your relationship,
Alrighty.
and then I can move on to the next topic. So you've been together for like 10 years, you said. You're not married yet, but obviously after 10 years, the honeymoon phase is long gone, right?
Right, for sure.
I'm sure there's nothing about your fiance that drives you nuts, but what would be the one thing about Zach Logue that annoys the hell out of her?
So right off the top of my head, I know it's kind of small, but I know it really bothers her. Whenever I get my clothes out of the dresser, I usually don't shut the drawers all the way. And that really bothers her for some reason, but that's one thing for sure. I like to leave my shoes out sometimes, so that probably gets under her skin. I would say. Typical stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, I love it. That's great. All right. So now moving to hockey. You mentioned obviously you're a hockey guy. Stanley Cup finals are about to be underway. I don't know. Do you follow the NHL right now?
Yeah, we got Lightning and is it Vegas or no?
No, it's Montreal.
They lost. Montreal, that's right.
Montreal,
That's right.
yeah,
All
they
right.
pulled it off. So
They beat Vegas. Okay.
So it's Montreal, Tampa Bay in the Cup Finals. Game 1 is tonight. I don't know when this episode is going to air, but Game 1 tonight. Do you have a team that you're rooting for?
We got to pull for the Canadians, I would say. Got to pull for the Canadians.
Good answer. Didn't know they were playing, but now that I do.
Oh, yeah. I'm the biggest fan now.
Okay.
You know where your bread's buttered.
For sure. 100%. 100%.
For one, this is an unofficial bonus point, but for the Canadian trivia, can you name one player on the Montreal Canadiens?
Carey Price.
All right.
Nailed it.
Very good. Love it.
The player.
The player. Yes.
Yeah, the player.
Exactly.
The player.
Okay, so now just a couple last ones here. In hockey, obviously the captain wears a C on his jersey. I think the NFL started to do it recently too.
Yeah.
For the most part, baseball doesn't. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how stupid is Jason Varitek for having a C on his jersey for the Boston Red Sox?
I think Barry Larkin had one on his chest too for the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, you're right.
For the Reds. Yeah, that's 10 being the stupidest.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, 10
I feel like we got to give him like an 8 or 9 or something like that. I feel like the catch. It's almost like he had catcher on his chest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like the catcher is kind of a lot of the times he's like the leader of the team, but yeah, you don't necessarily need to announce it to the world, I guess.
It just always rubbed me the wrong way growing up and seeing that. Like, I don't know. If baseball went to that and they were like, we have a captain now, I have no problem with it. But just being the one guy that wanted
being the one
to,
guy,
time.
yeah. Like, hey, look at me.
Look at me, right? Anyways. Okay, last question here. Are you a gamer at all in your off time?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
And what do you play?
So me and my good friend Cullen Large, we like to play PGA Tour 2K21.
Oh, nice.
We play golf together sometimes on off days. But yeah, we like to play that a lot. I used to play Fortnite quite a bit, but some of those guys are just way too good for me. So I've had to hang that one up.
Fair enough. Are you
You're like, I like to play Fortnite. I don't like to lose it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just wanted to go on there for a good time, and I was dead before I knew it.
Are you a better golfer in real life or in the game?
Definitely in the game. I'd like to say real life, but definitely in the game.
I think the last time I played a golfing video game was Wii Sports for the Nintendo Wii back in like.
No, I think that's a very underrated game. I think that was very fun.
Well, I tell you what, down the road, you and I will get together and we'll do a face-off where we play PGA Tour together, and then we play Wii Sports golf.
I love it. I'm in. I'm totally in.
Sounds good. Thanks, Zach.
Absolutely.
All right, Zach, thank you so much for your time, my man. We really appreciate it. We do have a few listener questions. Can you stick around for a few more minutes?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Right on. Okay, so this first one is from Jared in Kitchener, Ontario, so just south of Toronto. He says, hey, Zach, love you're doing the podcast. When you have an alcoholic beverage, what is your drink?
Old-fashioned.
You're an old-fashioned guy.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Went to school in Kentucky recently. Probably got more into bourbon a little bit, so I kind of appreciate that a little bit more.
Love it.
That's great. Your next question is from Jenna in Fredericton, New Brunswick, so Eastern Canada. Yeah, you got questions all over the country this time here. She says, hey, Zach, love you're doing the show. It seems like most ball players can be superstitious, especially when they're on a streak or in a slump. What's the wildest or weirdest thing you've done in order to satisfy the baseball gods?
When I was younger, I wore the same pair of like sliding shorts for like a full season and had to make my mom wash them after every single game. Couldn't play without them.
At least you were getting them washed.
Yeah.
Could have been worse, man.
Yeah. I'm sure there's definitely been people who have gone no wash for a while, but luckily my mom was on top of it.
So your last question comes from Samantha in Calgary, Alberta. So that's right above Montana there for you. She says, sorry, just lost my track here. Here it is. Sorry. Hey, Zach, do you have a favorite food or dish or restaurant at opposing teams' stadiums or city when you're on the road?
Ooh, that's a good question. I like steak a lot. I don't know. We don't like a lot of times we don't go out to eat like after games because it's so late. But I'll shout out the Red Arrow Diner in Manchester. I know that was at home, but it's a great little spot. It's open late. It's been on like Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives, the Guy Fieri show. So it's a really good little local diner. They got all kinds of food there. So that was definitely a favorite when we were in Manchester.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, Zach. Really enjoyed talking some ball here with you and appreciated your time. Best of luck with the rest of the season, my man.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on.